Hey, hey, yeah.
I'm a salesperson. I sell um, things for a living, And one of the greatest things that I've come to learn, and I'm just realizing this now, is that I don't sell. Yes, I do sell products, like pen and whatnot and what. But what I sell is information. You know, a customer comes to me and says, "I want the pen." You know, That's not the pen that I'm selling, it's the type of pen that the customer needs so that the customer walks out of the door a satisfied customer.
Exactly.
So it really does make sense. It's important for us to actually even learn. So what would you say about what are your thoughts on YouTube, Google, as far as, because like some of us, we listen to doctors that we do not know their backgrounds. We don't know that whether they are qualified or not, and then we check them on what is this, on Google, and whatnot. And what are your thoughts on technology or on social media as far as thing is concerned? Like, do you understand what I'm asking?
Yes, I do. You know, the problem with social media is that everyone else who feels like, are you there? Hello? Should I continue?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, you can continue.
Okay. So to answer his question, like the problem with social media and the internet in general, everyone nowadays is able just to hop onto the internet and put some information, whether it's a researched valid information or not. People just go there and put up information. So it's always essential for one to have a reliable source. If you have a reliable source, then yes, you can use the internet, because we do need the internet to actually empower ourselves and to get more knowledge on certain things. But it can be very toxic also, which is why we have to be able to know where we get our information and to be very sensitive with regards to what information we take and what information we pass through the internet.
That's actually a good insight on that. Now, getting to the matter at hand that we are dealing with, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. Like how I know there's always pressure in the hospitals and all that stuff. But now, different compared to before the COVID-19 pandemic.
As with regards to the pressure,
Yes.
I think we in general as a country are under a lot of strain because we're not functioning normal. So I think in general we just under a lot of stress. A lot of adjustments had to be made, and working in this protective personal protective equipment is not something that we do on a daily, but now you have to always be in that gear, and which is sometimes very uncomfortable. And just waking under the state of knowing that there's this deadly virus that's going around, and you are interacting with patients while everyone else is just at home quarantining and maintaining a social distance. You have to you are the one that's supposed to engage with the patients. It's very strenuous and stressful. Yes, it's very stressful right now. The pressure is too much. Fortunately
Now,
for us students, we were told to stay home for some time while they still figure out things. Maybe they would need us when there is a need for more hands, but for now we are still told to stay.
mm, mm. Now, according to what you've been seeing as the eyes inside the hospital, rather, how is the community, or rather the patient's panic rate? Has it risen to higher states, or their panic rate is still the same in terms of coming to checkups and seeing doctors and following up on their usual problems that they have with their body?
The patient panic rate.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously people are panicking, you know, like someone would be having like a normal flu that they wouldn't even take to a doctor, but then now since there's this whole COVID-19 thing, someone wakes up with a sore throat, maybe because they had very long conversations, they've been talking for a long time, and the next morning they have a sore throat, they go to the doctor, you know, they worried, you know, they always try to check. You have a cough, you're already worried, you know, so people are panicking, and which is understandable, but it doesn't have to be exaggerated.
Mm, that's
Also,
that's a good point.
also, also with us as the health professionals, we don't have to undermine the severity of this disease, because it can be very lethal if it's undermined.
True that, true that. Now, while we're still on that COVID-19 pandemic topic, what can you advise your patients, or rather the viewers of this channel, that what can they be advising in terms of when they get maybe one symptom but not all of the symptoms related to the COVID-19? What can you advise them to do instead of just panicking and going straight to the doctor and all that stuff?
Um, I think right now the most sensible thing to do is to go to a nearby clinic or hospital to get screened, because there is this thing that's done, or it doesn't have any cost. You just go to the hospital, they screen you. We here where I am, we have a screening booth where when you enter the hospital, you start there first. They screen you. Basically, screening is just looking at the general overview of a person and just trying to see if there is a possibility that you had you had contact, or you could could have had contact with someone that's positive. So what we look for when we screen, we want to know if you have traveled to the epicenter of the disease, if you have traveled in those countries whereby COVID-19 is very prevalent, like your Italy, or just traveling in general. We want to know if you have had any flu-like symptoms. We want to know if you have had fever and your sore throat and whatnot. So if you report that you have had those symptoms, or you meet the criteria, then that's only then we can take you further and test you and perform those tests that are done. But screening just takes a few minutes. You just ask questions and that's it. So I would advise people to just go, if you have those flu-like symptoms, or if you feel like you're not okay or whatnot, just go there. Just um yeah, just go to the nearby
Yeah.
hospital and get screened.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Now, most people like to get confused in terms of screening and testing for the virus itself inside your bloodstream and all that. Now, if you can just differentiate like what screening is, and then also how testing procedure goes by, and is the testing procedure, do you have to pay for it? Is it affordable, or what are the things that you have to do? For instance, for people maybe who can't afford to go for proper testing, how do they go about testing for the coronavirus?
So if I have explained already, with screening, we don't really do much of taking blood samples or any form of sample from your body. We just ask you general questions. One thing that would do probably would be to take your temperature, but we don't really take your samples to test. As as opposed to thingy testing. So when you test, you actually to be more specific, when we test for COVID-19, you take a sample, from the nose, from the oropharynx. That's where you take the the sample that will be tested. So the labs that we test at are the one that that I know is the National Health Laboratory Services. That's where I know that they test this samples. So with regards to the cost, I'm not quite certain because that's not what we do. That's not what we focus on. We don't really focus on the costs. So I'm not really certain of how the costs go. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you definitely answered my question. I don't know if Zuvukile has a question regarding the pandemic and everything. Over to you, Zuvu.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you had already asked, but my question is why don't they use blood test to
Pardon?
test people? Why don't they use blood test to test people? Because I mean, they use that thing. Sure, it looks horrific. It's choose.
It is, but with a lot of flu viruses, they are found in the nasopharynx and the oropharynx. That's where they actually stay, and it's much more sensitive. It's a more sensitive test. By sensitive, I mean it will tell you definitely if it's there. With blood, any other virus that could be in your circulation would be detected. So it doesn't really tell you, okay, this is COVID-19. You could be having a human immunodeficiency virus. You could be having your HIV in your system, and then it would detect that there is a virus, or it would detect. So blood doesn't really help much here. You understand? But with regards to the one that you take in your nose, that's where the problem is. So you go there straight, you come with the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's more sensitive to do with that. It's not painful, but it's very uncomfortable. Yes.
It's not painful.
No, it's not. It's just very uncomfortable.
But that's what all doctors say. No, it's not painful. We just gotta sit down,
Yeah, that's the only way we can actually get to help patients,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense.
I thank you for the information you've shared with us. It's actually been insightful in terms of COVID-19. Taking it to a lighter note and everything, focusing more on you. I see you like traveling. You've been to Paris, you've been to Cuba, you've been to Lesotho. If you can just tell me, what does traveling do to you as a person? Why do you like traveling so much? And do you travel because of work, or you just travel to unwind and everything?
Actually, before you answer that, please tell us, sorry for that. Where did you first travel? Your first trip? Where was your first trip?
My first trip.
Yes.
Oh. So I have traveled around South Africa first. I have traveled around Lesotho. Actually, Lesotho is my mom's homeland. Hence, I said I'm very Lesotho. So I actually go to Lesotho more often. Not only to travel, but to visit, actually. So when I first left Africa, it was going to Cuba. So normally when we go to Cuba, we have to what do you call, to take a connecting flight. Yeah, so because it's pretty much far, so the plane has to refuel and all those things. So we go via Paris, Charles de Gaulle, and then we go then go to Cuba. But this time around, when we came back, we went through Ghana, Accra, and then we came home. But I wouldn't say for me it was traveling per se. I wish I could, but wherever the place I'm at, I do go around. I like going around and exploring the world, because I feel like we are of the world, so we own this place, we should know this place. Like traveling is like reading a book, you know, you get informed, you get new information, you get to enrich yourself as a person. So yeah, I would advise everyone just to travel. It's lovely, it's beautiful. See different places, it's amazing.
Now that's wonderful. I would also like to travel sometime just to get out of the country. The furthest I went is Swaziland, but there wasn't much of a sightseeing thing. It was just going one place exactly. But now, thank you for your time. Actually, thank you for taking this time. Yeah,
I
no,
think
man. We still need to figure this thing out properly because this is like our second conversation we have with someone under this platform. So we still need to just get the gist of the things and hopefully things will work out good for us. But anyway, as I was saying, thank you for taking your time to actually sit down with us and share your information and actually talk about yourself with us and revealing to us what we did not know, but now we have knowledge of, you know. I really hope next time you're in Bloemfontein, we can actually do this properly, sitting down all together and have a proper conversation about everything else. But otherwise, from me, I'm done with my questions and I'm happy with the answers that you actually gave us. It was more of a conversation, if I may put it. You did not answer us in a matter of that it is an interview or something, which I really
yeah.
appreciate. I don't know if Mzuvukile has questions in conclusion, but I really thank you for your time, and yeah, thank you very much, man. Mzu?
Bro, my question is I saw on one of your posts on the gram that you were climbing a buffalo. Was that a real buffalo? Because I saw the horns; they were very long, bro.
Yeah, that's a buffalo. It was imported, I think, from Europe in Cuba. That's Cuba in a province called Pinar del Rio. So I went there just before I came home. It's a buffalo. It's 20 years, 23 years. So it's been doing that thing of carrying people for about 20 years now. It's been working with the guy for 20 years.
Sure. And
Yeah.
then it must be the most friendliest buffalo ever.
It
You know,
is. I mean,
because
it's been doing that for 20 years now.
yeah,
It's getting
yeah,
old,
yeah,
though. It's getting old. Yeah.
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 Nah, Victor, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate you, and we wish you nothing but the best going forward. You know, go there, man. Go kick some, some doors and help people to the best of your ability. You know, yeah.
No, thank you guys for
Yeah.
having me. It's been a great honor and a privilege. It's something that I've never done before, and I'm a very closed up person, and you know when such things come, you just I think twice about them before I could do them. But this one I didn't even think twice about because the approach was very welcoming. So yeah, and I wish you guys all the best with everything that you do, and may God bless you guys.
All right.
Thank
You,
you
brother.
very much, Mr. Victor. Thank you. Yes, this was that selective conversation with Tepo Moho, right? So yes, guys. Thank you very much, and we out.
Hey, hey.